Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the May meeting of the San Diego DX Club. I'd like to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Danny, would you like to lead us? Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Play ball. We're waiting for our speaker to join us. I don't see him up here yet. We do have his PowerPoint, so if worse comes to worse, we'll just present it for him. I guess. We have, since this is the May meeting, we have a couple of housekeeping items for the club. I wanted to bring up our Constitution and bylaws were last rewritten in 2009, and the board has worked on revamping them and modernizing them somewhat. And with that, they'll be they're open for discussion here, and then we'll be sending them out as a Survey Monkey, where you can vote yes or no whether you approve them or not. I think Mike, you had something to say about them. Here, let me give you the. What do you want to do? What, Constitution about it? Yeah, either.
Just some suggestions and clarifications that I came up with. I'm going to start with the Constitution, and I would like to see that we just define attendance as in person or via electronic means, and not specify Zoom, because Zoom's the thing for today, but who knows what tomorrow is. And then you don't have to say that whole thing over and over again. Just say attendance is that, whatever that is. The other thing is there's a discrepancy between some of the things where it takes 10 members and 5 members. And I was just wondering how that number came about. One thing, see, it was membership may be revoked by 10 members, and
he's got this all written out.
Constitution and bylaws can be proposed by 5 members, and
I do. I take a vitamin B.
okay, well, I just went through it, without referencing back. So anyway, and the other thing was I'd like to see the fiscal year defined, and I'd like to see that the officers are fiscal year beginning to fiscal year end, because there was a confusion a few years ago, 10 years ago or something, where the officers were elected by acclamation in May, and they weren't sure if they took over in June or July. And I think it should be July to July. Is that the fiscal year?
July 1st to June 30th.
Right.
They were already in officers, so they would go from June, and then their new term would start.
Right. Well, the discrepancy was that the current officers say, okay, I'm done, and they didn't do anything for June. They need to finish June and then hand it over to the new ones in July. So define the fiscal year and define that the officers go from there to there. And then on the bylaws, I just noticed this. I don't know why, but on the Constitution, it goes Article 1, 2, 3, and in the bylaws, it's Article ABC. I don't know, is that something? Okay. And a quorum ought to be defined. It says section 1 dues from the vote of members of the regular members by quorum. I think all business should be conducted by quorum. And again, defining, it says in that first paragraph, in person or via Zoom. I just define it as attendance, and attendance is either Zoom or personal. And then dues may be waived for members of the armed forces on active duty. I think it should be shall. So there's no judgment, and some guys get it and some guys don't. So everybody gets it. And if your dues are delinquent and you're thrown out of the club for not paying, do you have, and your membership is terminated. So to get back in, do you just pay your dues or do you have to go through the application and voting and all that again? That should be cleared up.
150 milligrams.
Well, just again, pointing out things that I thought should be, yep. And on the newsletter, it says the editor is going to be sending out the newsletter and he doesn't. He sends it to the secretary. The secretary sends it out. At least that's the way Randy was doing it.
Dr.
Don't you send it to the mailing list? Oh, okay. He sends it direct. Okay. Okay. So then that's fine. That's fine. Scrap that one then. Or as they say on TV, strike that. Okay. In the Article D, Section 5, it should just say board, president, or treasurer.
Not today, 2 days ago.
I'm not sure why it says president. It should say or. It was changed from or to of.
No, I have
And then-
that, but I have the losartan, a new bottle that I have not opened
Hello?
yet.
Somebody,
Well, the old bottle is only a few tablets, so I have a brand
anyway,
new-
there's somebody talking in the background that's on Zoom. Who?
But see, that's.
Talking about your drugs, maybe not want to be public on the, maybe want to mute. Anyway,
Prescriptions.
so then again, that was a 10, something about impeachment is 10 and 5. That should just be consistent. And
Bottle of losartan and a
it
bottle.
says president and it was stricken or treasurer and made into of, and I don't understand why.
And a bottle
I think it was
of.
probably just a mistype.
And so today.
And then
I-
also then next sentence, it says by majority of club officers and directors at large, just the board. I mean, that's what they are, right? And then the member termination should be by quorum, I think. And there's a membership, Article G, membership, it says Constitution, bylaws, and procedures. I have never seen a procedures document. Is there such a thing? Okay. And that's it. Do you want to have this markup?
Oh, but that's what's bizarre.
Yeah.
Bottle of losartan. I have it in my hand.
Were there any other suggestions for the Constitution or bylaws? Nope.
Was it me?
It's a different Dennis.
Must be the other Dennis. The other one.
We had a quickie about the late meeting with Marty.
I'm gonna get to that. It's the
Well,
May meeting and we look at the slate of officers that we currently have and I assume everybody wants to stay on for another year. No, you don't want to stay. Okay. Is anybody facile with the AV systems here that would be willing to take it up? I certainly am not.
can we nominate somebody who's not here?
Good John.
Say Gary.
I mean, certainly somebody among this crowd must be facile with the electronics, with the audiovisual electronics. No? Do you know of anybody?
Nominate Jerry Stafford. He's not here. He would have been.
But why don't we feel him out? Yeah.
Okay.
I think there needs to be 2 people, because we might do it, but we're gone 5 months out of the year, so there needs to be 2 people. So that somebody can step up.
So you want to stay on as secretary, but you want to be. But you don't want to have this responsibility. Okay. And then we had one open spot in Board of Directors, and Steve K6RSH has graciously accepted the job to fill in for Brian, where he moved up to treasurer, and we'll see how it goes. Are there any, we're open for nominations. Anyone want to nominate anyone? If not, then by acclamation, the current officers and board stand, and will assume their duty July 1st, although June there will not be a vote since we had nobody nominated.
Jerry Stafford. Jerry Stafford. K-I-N.
We got
Jerry, Jerry just said yes.
Oh, okay.
Oh, awesome.
We've got him on the phone.
Oh, good. Oh, great. Oh, great. That's super.
Tell me, tell us what to do, sir.
He didn't want to go.
Where is he?
Pacific.
Oh, Pacifica.
Ask him if he can run Zoom.
He's at a party right now.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And then we have one more housekeeping item, and that is for September, we tentatively had Marty Wall, but Marty said that he did a DXpedition. I don't remember exactly where. And he said that he could present, but he couldn't present till 7:30 at night. So I wanted to kind of poll the crowd that comes to these meetings and see if we started the presentation at 7:30 and started the meeting at our usual 6:30 or 7, and then started with and had our round table and everything, and started the actual presentation at 7:30. Does that seem reasonable to people, or is it too late? Any thoughts?
Comment?
Yes.
Hello?
But we have a lot of presenters from around the country, so for East Coast people, it would be pretty late.
Comment?
Well, the presenter wants to present late, but I want to make sure everybody in the group it's acceptable with them. So that sounds good.
Comment, can you hear me? Hello? Hello?
Yeah, hi.
Hi, Peter, at the DX convention, he gave that presentation. I just want to tell you, it is not very long. It is not very long, so that you might want to take that into your consideration. Thank you.
So click on Peter.
Well, Peter's gonna talk on it. Peter signed up the phone. Peter's the new person. It's the second meeting. We have to vote again.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Our lecturer has it.
Okay. All right. The one item I have as treasurer is that we have a member that's now, it's his second meeting. It's Peter, WA6HMXM. And he's up there on the screen. He's got the kind of a purple shirt on, a purple hat. Peter, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Because we didn't get to do that last week. We were having some issues. And when Peter's done, I'll ask for a vote to see if, because this is his second meeting, and see if the club votes him in. All right, Peter, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, thank you very much. I was licensed in 1957. I got on the air as a novice, WV6HXM, 40 and 15 meters CW. Worked a lot of Australians and New Zealanders like everybody else. And then when I upgraded, I changed the V to A and kept my call WA6HXM. I lived in Palos Verdes for 25 years. I had a 54-foot tower with a 20-foot mast out the top. and I had a beam at 72 feet and 8 elements on 8 elements on a 36-foot boom on 6 meters. And I worked a lot of DX with a 4-1000 kilowatt. And then the Southern California DX Club members said, oh, the real guys are on 20 meters. So I took that down and I put up 204BA and I started chasing DX for real. So I've been doing that all my life. I love CW. I love single sideband. I am not big on digital. I've got a lot to learn about digital, but I do my best. And all I can say is I'm a member of the Northern California DX Club. I'm a member of the Southern California DX Club for almost since its inception. And I will be pleased if I am allowed to join the San Diego DX Club. Bruce Clark, who I hope many of you remember, was a good member of Southern California DX Club. And he was a good friend, San Diego DX Club, and he was a good friend of mine. So I'll keep it brief. That's about it. That's me. I've been active ever since 1957, and with the exception of when I was in the Army. I did operate from Europe when I was in the Army. I've been on a couple of DXpeditions. The latest one was to Rarotonga. A couple of years ago, I may have worked you all from there, E51HXM, and it was easy to get to because you could fly directly from LA to Rarotonga. So I'm 84 years old, so I don't do a lot of traveling anymore, but I do most of my DXing here in Ramona. So with that, unless there are any questions, I don't have too much else I can add.
That was a lot. That's the.
I hope the audio came through.
It was light, but it was here. Okay. Anybody have any questions for Peter? Okay. Any motion to accept Peter into the club? All right. Second. All right. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, Peter, you're in.
Thank you very much. I hope to be
All right.
club.
And I don't see our oh yeah, I've had his cash for about a month and a half.
Oh, great.
Oh, my God.
Well, welcome, Peter. George Wallner, are you on? I guess George isn't up yet. You want to do the round table and then we'll wait to see if George comes. If not, I'll just present his slides. You want to do that?
Sure. But A6BH, nothing to report, really. Been a quiet month.
Well, K6GO, nothing to report. We're going to be traveling, but I do want to push Field Day, which we're having at Lake Poway. So those of you who don't have a field day to go to, please come to our field day and let us know if you want to operate or you just want to be casual and come by and visit. And then I want to announce the YLRL Young Ladies Radio League convention in mid-July in St. George, Utah. Tell anybody you know.
Mike NA6MB. It was interesting a couple of weeks ago when the solar flare wiped everything out. It was dead for a couple of days. Pretty active sun. So the 10 meters has been 10, 15, 12 have been pretty good. But I haven't gotten any QSL confirmations from Log of the World for a while. So anybody else see that problem? It's been down since the 15th or something like that.
Bob W6ACU, and yeah, the solar flare, I was supporting, I was at the Kaiser Hospital trying to do Armed Forces Day from there. And I got the midway. That was a good contact. And also I could hear pardon? I couldn't hear him, no. You must mean Fort Huachuca? Where? I could not hear them, no. And I did hear Alameda, but I couldn't talk to them. The other thing is that Logbook of the World is down. I don't know, everybody knows that, but don't know what the rectification of that situation is. And the other thing was that, and maybe, I don't know if it's going to come up tonight, but there's a new version of FTA for the foxes to, right now, if there's like 3 or 4 streams coming back, talking to people, each one of those sucks away half the power, consecutively. So if you got a whole bunch of streams, the transmitter that you're listening to is very, very weak sometimes. And they've invented a new one that's going to be wideband signal, require a new version of software. But Jarvis, that we're going to talk about in a few minutes, is apparently going to be one of the test sites to check it out.
They're gonna broadcast a wideband signal, several channels in that.
Within
Full power wideband.
exactly. Yeah, I should have said full power. So it should work good, but let's see what it is. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Jim Wellington, K6 SMT. Not a member yet, but it's my second meeting, so hopefully. Who collects some money?
I'm Ben N6MUF. Came to California to pick up my transceiver after waiting 6 months for it. And I got it on May the 14th. And I thought, the receiver is not working. It was because of the sunburst. I read Rob's message that it had been down a couple of days. So I was very relieved. I worked 5 or 6 stations today. That's it.
Randy, KQ6RS, haven't been too active, but Gail talked me into launching a weather balloon at the field day on Saturday, so that'll be fun, Lake Power. So yeah, looking forward to that and working with students at Mount Carmel. They're going to do a tea hunt from the coming week, so they're going to build some antennas tomorrow. This is on 70-centimeter band.
Name is Eamon McHale, KO6 AVF, new to the hobby, got my license back in September and heard about this club through an internet search. And this is my first meeting here. Everybody's been very friendly. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Ray, WA6NVL, and I worked on the Armed Forces Day also, worked the Midway, 4 of their bands that they were on. It was pretty easy for me because I'm in Spring Valley and I'm line of sight to the Midway. So I should have been able to work them. I could have probably even flashed a light at them. And, but I did have fun when we were having all the Aurora type stuff, because I did on 6 meters, I worked 6 new states, including Canada on 6. And so I had a lot of fun. I thought, 6 was only good for backyard type of stuff, but working all the adjacent states and on up at Canada, that was a lot of fun on 6. And this was on FT8. Yeah, FT. Yeah, but it was a lot of fun to, and that was all with 20 watts, and into a 40-meter dipole doing it with. So that's the only antenna that I was using. Anyhow, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, this is Donald N6 BTF. I really don't have anything to report this month.
Steve, K6RSH. Well, I got in on the meteor scatter too, and I got Hawaii, British Columbia, all the Northwest states, and it all came in. So now it's been dead for the last few days. Anyway, I've been cleaning up. I got tried to get the Falkland Islands. I didn't get them. And, here 1 second, gone the next. I went up to, as my t-shirt says, I went to Dayton, Ohio for the Hamvention. And before we did that, I spent a day and a half at the Air Force Museum, which I strongly recommend going if you're into aerospace. They'd have everything from the Wright brothers right to rockets. They didn't have a Saturn V, but they had everything else, it looked like. Even Wright Patterson. Actually, they're off base. They cut that part of the base off, so you don't have to go on base. It was outstanding, and they had stuff that used to be classified top secret, like Tastic Blue, sitting there right in front of me, and I'm going, I'm not supposed to talk about this, you know, but it was really neat there. We then went to the first day non-advertised, where all the sellers show up on Thursday. And it was interesting watching all the sellers sell to each other before the public got there. So all the good stuff you think's gone on the pre-day, and they flip it. That's exactly right. I was offered a big box of tubes for $20. I only needed one, so I got it for $1. But the other thing is they had a lot of neat stuff. But you think, well, you've been it and you've seen it all in the first day. No, you haven't. So on Friday, the vendors all changed and put different stuff out, and you had more of a swap meet out in the parking lot. It had big overflow. So Friday was really good, and you got to start doing some of the classes and stuff like that, and it rained on us, and but you just got used to it, and you go into the buildings. And then Saturday was the same thing, but you think, well, you've seen all the vendors, right? No, you got to go back by all the vendors, because they got a completely different display and selling different stuff, and you don't want to miss out, you know. Of course, the big thing is we flew up there and I saw all these beautiful boat anchors that I wanted when I was a teenager. And to give you an idea on one of the vendors, like the size of this 2 tables here, the guy had stacks of HW 100, 101, and he had a sign, and I'm not kidding. It was buy one, get one free. And the buy one was $20. And I'm on an airline, so how am I going to get it back? Well, I don't know where the shippers were, but their people were taking it. Well, I didn't see it, but. So the only people that weren't there as vendors was MFJ, of course, but everybody else was there, and it was really good. I got to talk to HRD, the guy himself, which I've been conversing back on email back and forth. So it was well worth the trip, and we came back on Sunday, and I didn't get selected for the grand prize again. So. Yeah, I think so, yeah. No, you know, I hope that Chris-Craft and some of the companies that they had swept up will be split off again, or somebody will buy it, because I don't want to see companies like that disappear, you know? Yes. Well, that's an interesting question. Well, when we were trying to make reservations, of course, the price tag for the hotels, you know, of course, were high, but if it was actually Xenia, which is east of Dayton. And Jerry's not here, so I didn't want to get a $200 to $400 room. And so I went online, and there was a quality a motel or whatever. Well, it had a good price. I found out why when we got there. It was under rehabilitation. So the whole front facade was torn off. They were digging a new hole for a pool, and it was a mud hole, a big, deep mud hole. And of course, they had all the construction material in the parking lot and in the lobby, and they were working on the hotel. We got a ground floor. And but Jerry liked it because he got all the free movies, you know. But we walked ourselves off. We were there. We were there for the Air Force Museum before it opened. We walked all day. It had another hour before it closed, and we turned to each other and said, "We'll do the rest tomorrow," because our legs were tired. And but the same thing at the conference there and all, and going into the different rooms and all, and schedule. Of course, the thing I got problems with on whatever conference you do, whether it's the DX conference or anything else, they got 2 meetings going on at the same time I want to be at. And so that bothers me. And it's like, well, which one do you want to be at more? And so that's what happened. So I just picked the more and did it and walked around. And actually, you talked about the, you know, flea market and all the other stuff. The displays changed daily too, almost. And so that was interesting. And also we got to see a prototype of the new ICOM. Maybe it's a 7310 or something, but it's gonna maybe bigger. I got a picture of some of the boards, but 3 of the boards are missing. So they put that out there as a teaser. And I was very happy. I got 2 items on my bucket list checked off: Air Force Museum and the HAMCOM. So. No, I missed that fun.
Danny, WB6FWS. I've just been busy with family activities, not too much radio. I've turned on the radio a couple of times, worked a few stations, but basically my family's taken up a lot of my time. So moving on.
Michael, KB6D, nothing to report.
Dennis, N6KI, good to see everybody tonight and you guys up on the screen. Hello, everybody. And from the boy from down under. Anyway, let's see what's new. Contesting. Let's see. We've given up some of our activity to Anza to let Marco qualify for the WRTC coming up. And let's see, we still got a little remote station in Anza, in Fallbrook, Ramona to use. Following up on the Midway, was it June 3rd or something? It's like worked all battleships. They're getting like all the battleships, like dozens and dozens for anybody that's into that. They're going to put them all on the air on the weekend of June 3rd. So look that up. And they're actually looking locally for operators to go down and either at the Midway or at Point Loma station up there, W6RDF, to man the stations if you want some operating time. I don't know too much more. Look me up on QRZ. I can send the link and 6KI on QRZ address. And let's see, I think that's pretty much about it.
Okay. We'll go to our Zoom participants now. Ron, WA6YOU, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Good evening. And this is Ron, WA6YOU, out in Northern Virginia. And a pretty good month last month. I finally got Bhutan Alpha 52 confirmed and Libya 5 Alpha confirmed for a total of 328 mixed. Looking forward to Jarvis coming up for FT. And we're getting ready for field day out here with the Vienna Wireless Society. I'm going to be the chef for the whole thing. So no more CW this year. Okay, back to San Diego.
Okay, thanks. The Roadkill Cafe lives on. Lou, KW6Q.
Hi, guys. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, yeah. Well, I've been in Boise for the last 3 weeks, and we're actually on our way home now. In fact, we need Jim with us here. We just stopped at a railway museum here in the middle of Nevada. But other than that, it looked like a good week to be away with all the problems with the sun. Back to you guys.
Great, thanks. Have a safe trip back from Boise. Patrick, VK2PN.
It's working now. Yeah. Good evening, good morning, or good early afternoon from north of Sydney, VK 2PN. My contest call sign is Victor Lima 2 November. I'm a contester, small pistol, mind you, and chasing DX. I've got about 300 and a bit CW only countries, which is quite all right. And I'm almost 80 years old, so I'm slowing down. And greetings from north of Sydney.
Great. Well, thank you for joining us, and stay well. Steve, VK3JA.
Yeah, hi, everybody. Thanks for saying hi to me today. I want to say a special hi to Bud. Bud, I can't see on the screen right now, N7CW. I haven't seen Bud's face in years now, and he was one of the first I ever met at the San Diego DX Club back at the Hind Quarter 23 years ago. And every time I work N7CW, I always say hi, Bud. And I hope I can do that again this weekend, Bud. It's good to see your face on here again. And Gail and Mike, I'm getting a nice view of you there. It started out as a side. Now you lean into the camera. Hi, Mike. You just went onto the screen there. Nice to see you. And Alicia says hi, Gail. Nice to see Danny. Danny, I've been watching you. You're center of the screen here, so I'm keeping a close eye on you. And Dennis, it's nice to see you too. I couldn't see you in the mob there, but it's good to see your face and good to see you at the meeting there. Let's see, what was I going to say? This is the WPX weekend, and so I'll be in there for at least part of the time. I hope I'll hear some of you. I know I'll hear Bud. And let's see, I'm glad to hear you all talking about the logbook of the world, because for days I was thinking there was something wrong on my end. I couldn't do anything with the ARRL, so they're just stuffed up. And I wonder if it's got to do with the, CME that went on. Anyway, the conditions have been great here. The best time ever that I've ever seen for conditions. Down here, 10 meters is open well into like midnight, and the whole world is coming through. It's been really nice. Let's hope it lasts. Anyway, nice to see y'all. Go home and have a taco and think of me. Thank you.
Take care. Thanks for stopping by. Bud, N7CW, good evening.
Good evening, everyone, and hi, Steve. It's great to see you, and still looking as young as ever. I'm over in Prescott, Arizona. I've been here for coming on 20 years. And so the propagation over here is a little bit different than you guys get, but the higher bands have just been open late in the evenings, actually starting about now until late in the evening into Central Asia, and just some of those really cool prefixes that we don't hear very often have been coming through. So that's been fun. And a little bit earlier this year, I worked and confirmed number 100 on 6 meters from here. So that was a milestone. And I only need one more for Fred Fish. So
wow,
that's just waiting. That's just waiting.
Congratulations.
It's a tough one. Thank you. It's EL58, which is off the coast of New Orleans. So it's got to be a special trip. And I assume everybody knows, nobody said anything, but Jim K6ZH is going to be operating from 9A1A this weekend. And so should be there already. Anyway, it's great to see everybody. Hopefully George will show up. I was on a trip to Baker a few years ago where we tried to make the first rib station work. We were unsuccessful, although the actual rib itself worked fine, but the data link from the boat to the station there, we couldn't make that work. So I'm very interested to see what improvements he's made. Okay, that's all I got.
Great. Thanks for stopping by. George is on his boat, and we weren't sure whether he was going to be able to make it. I do have his PowerPoint, so I'm going to try to pitch in for him, but it's an interesting concept, what he's planning to do on Jarvis this year. So I'm going to present it in a minute if he doesn't come in. Bill, W8QZA, what's new? Bill, W8QZA, are you there? Guess not. Bob, KA7IGN.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay. The only thing, I'm pushing my radios out into the garage. I'm going to make that my man cave. I got a little more room, like about 15 feet. So that'll be good. And as far as the other part is, I'm reworking the front yard. And today we worked on about 3,000 pounds of rock. So that's taken up my time. Other than that, I really haven't been on the radio. Back to you.
Okay, thanks. Thanks for stopping by, and good luck with your new station. Do we have the PowerPoint on one? Okay.
See here, where are we? Randy, help me where I go to get the power. Where do we, oh, there we are, right there, okay. Great, and right there. Yep. And let me get it full size. And then the slideshow mode. Oh, shit. Okay. Yeah, I wanted to try to get go back one. So it's in this full screen mode. Oh, huh. How do I get rid of
full screen up there?
Yeah, but it's not, they're not saying full screen.
Yeah. How do we get rid of the other guys here? Randy, how do we get rid of the view so we can make this full screen? Yes, what they see.
Can you see the slide? Can folks on Zoom see the slide?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's good here.
Is it full screen or?
Yes,
Is it full screen or is it just on the side?
On the side.
3/4 screen.
Okay.
Here we go, maybe I
Okay.
can do this over, hang on.
Good enough.
There you go.
Is that better?
It's the same.
Same?
Hmm.
You just got to close all the people on Zoom and you can see the whole thing.
Yeah.
Go to the minus.
Yeah, maybe. There it goes. Is that asking if it's better?
Is that better now?
No, it's the same, but it's okay.
Okay. Well, let's get started.
Talk, I'll change the slides. Okay, or you can just change the slides.
George Wallner is, when I spoke to him a couple of weeks ago and invited him to give the talk, he was on his sailboat somewhere between Hawaii and, no, actually he was on Christmas Island heading to Jarvis. And he said he was hopeful that he could do the presentation, but in the event that he couldn't, he was going to send me the slideshow. So I'm sorry you don't have George here to talk about this, but his slides are pretty self-explanatory. Jarvis is a small island between Hawaii and the Cook chain. I think it's something like 2 square miles. It's uninhabited except for some birds and other things on the island, but it's a U.S. protectorate, and they are going there from August 1st to 15th, and someone from Fish and Game is joining them. They're going to be operating from the boat off of the island, so they're going to put the radios, the antenna, the generator on the island, and they're going to be on the boat with a UHF link, I think a 900 megahertz link to the radios from there. They're also going to be using Starlink to communicate with the radios so that operators from other parts of the world can operate the station from Jarvis. So it should be an interesting endeavor. Here's where Jarvis is located between Hawaii and Niue, which is just north of the Cook chain. And it's in the South Pacific, just below the equator. It's a U.S. territory, a Marine National Monument with administered by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife, I think, no entry. So they're going to be able to go on it because they have scientists going with them and people from the United States FWS joining them. It's on the club log most wanted number 18 and number 9 in Europe, and it was last activated in 1994. So they saw a need to break this 30-year drought in which Jarvis has not been able to be activated. It's a beautiful picture. The water is crystal clear blue. It's in the middle of nowhere, obviously, so it's not polluted at all. It's beautiful. No camping, no people, no mess. And they're going to keep it that way by staying off of the island on the boat in the luxury of air conditioning and good food and no camping and no mosquitoes and nothing. So it's a really ideal way to do a day expedition. And the guys that are going to operate from home with the Starlink should be having a great time. The logistics, it's 1,050 nautical miles from American Samoa. They're going to travel on one of these luxury catamarans, which you can see in the upper right corner. They're going to have 3 FWS scientists, 4 crew. It's an uninhabited island, as I said, no facilities or dock, no anchoring allowed or possible. So the station will, keeping for the entire duration, will be operated from offshore. It's difficult landing in the beach through a break in the coral with 3 to 4 foot surf, so it should be an interesting endeavor for them. Jarvis Island should be a separate entity. As far as I know, it is a separate DX entity. If that's not correct, somebody correct me. But I was under the impression that it is a separate entity. It's not part of the island group as Palmyra. And does anyone know, it is a separate entity, isn't it? Or no?
It's part of Jarvis and Palmyra.
Okay.
It's KH5.
KH5, okay. It stands alone in the water northwest of Kiribati chain. The rib concept is that of a minimum footprint and minimum destruction by humans trekking around and potentially leaving garbage or things getting away. So the rib concept is one of great interest, and it actually adds an element of niceness to the DXpedition, where you can operate in a reasonable environment and not have to withstand the harshness of either the heat or cold. Only the essentials are on the island: the radios, the generators, and the antennas, as I said. Everything else is on the boat: the food, the sleeping facilities, the lavatory, the showers, etc. So it's really a very nice thing. And as you saw, the catamaran looks like a beautiful setup. Here's the basic rib configuration. You have remote ops, both remote on the boat, which will act as control operators and also operate the station. And then you have remote ops around the world that will be connecting through the internet, through Starlink, and then through the boat, through the 900 megahertz IP bridge to the rib, which is rig in a box with the antennas. Each rib station, they're going to be using Flex 6700s, will have 2 partitions. There will be two bands with each of the 3 6700s. And it should work out well. I'm not sure. Bud may be able to talk about what the problems were a little bit more on the previous one, but here in the evolution of the rib in 2018, KH1 / KH7Z planned for 2 stations on the boat so that not all team needed to be on the island during the evening, but the link was unreliable. On 2020, C6AGU had on-ship operators with the 900 megahertz IP link improved using dual MIMO antennas and the radios installed in Pelican boxes to protect them from the elements on the island. 2021, RIB was advanced and cell phone service could now operate the RIB. In 2022, when the Starlink constellation was being built out, they used Starlink at C6AGU. The landing craft carried 2 ribs deployed for the first time with all equipment remaining on it for faster setup. So they had this almost robotic type unit that took the radios and the generator onto the island, and then they landed on the island just to set up the antennas and then went back. And in 2023, the first successful remote operations from FO, VP6, and E51. The remote operation is very good for sensitive environments. It's radio in a box, self-contained, completely remoted from the boat or from other remote location via the internet. There's really no impact on the island per se, as there's no camping, no latrines, no showers, no cooking. They could visit the island daily to refuel the generators, and no other maintenance really was necessary. Minimal impact on the environment, which is really part of the idea. The RIB boat to speed up deployment and reduce the footprint. So the RIB was in a boat that just deployed up onto the island. And there's a picture of the RIB in the radio in the box, self-contained, complete, that can be remotely operated. And here's the boat as it actually deployed. It's on a amphibious type of situation where it can go up onto the island and be deployed. I think this one shows the antenna actually on it. It doesn't require a separate deployment with fuel and generators on board. And here's a breakdown of the what's in the guts of the box with the Ethernet, cooling system, the Flex 6700 control module, receive antenna, and preamp filter controller. PA, which was 1.5 kilowatts and water cooled, internet cooling, interior cooling fans, and power supplies, which were 12 volts and 250 volt with lithium phosphate batteries to run all of this. But again, it would be controlled by a generator. And here's the schematic of what the RIB stations would be. N1, P1, N1, N5. I'm not sure exactly what these are, but this is the planned configuration for Jarvis. And you can see that each 6700 has two stations in it. Goes to a tuner and then the antennas. they're planning 160 through 6 meters, and I think summertime 160 may not be very good, but they're still going to give it a whirl. It won't be their major thrust. 6 stations, 4 remote operators, and 2 locally controlling operators on the catamaran. The rib is modular for ease of handling in case of rough weather. This is an example of 2 radios in the ribs with filters, a 500-watt amplifier, and a 9-band pass filter. The antennas, they are going to deploy on the island close to the saltwater, V8, V10, and V11, which would be 40 through 10, 80 through 10, and 160 through 10. These are DX Engineering antennas. The local operating position inside the catamaran looks pretty plush. I'm sure everybody would like a view like that to sit and operate in air conditioning and heating so that it's a perfect environmental control. The remote ops will be using any desktop to remotely control one of the PCs on board. Smart SDR on the PC connected to the Flex 6700 in the rib. That's been a well developed option of the 6700, and I think the last iteration of their software took care of any glitches in the remote function of the Smart SDR. FD8 will be controlled by WSJTX-CW. We'll use Mumble to get our receive audio and N1MM to key the transmitter. And the control operator on board uses PC control to monitor and control the radios. I'm not sure if this is going to come up later in the slide, but there is some latency in this whole system. So if you try to hit these people too quickly after they stop transmitting, they will miss your call. So you have to wait a little bit till you can talk to them. I'm not sure that's a problem on FD8, but on CW it could be. Here's another schematic of how the remote operator system is going to be, where you're going to use 900 megahertz with 27 megabits IP to remote the stations. They're showing 4 here, but as far as I know, there's only going to be 3. And you will have control operators and then also remote operators elsewhere. It looks like there will be 2 CW and the rest will be FT8. Here's the operating schedule, and I think this is posted on their website on QRZ, what frequencies they'll be on and when they're planning to operate. But of course, a lot of that is dependent upon weather and when they actually make it to the island and the setup and whatnot. As I said, I don't think 160 is going to be one of their major priorities. The VP6A remote ops operating FT8, this is just showing how that worked. And again, the remote operating. They're planning to leave American Samoa on August 1st, plus or minus weather, and land on August 5th or 6th, depending upon weather. Good conditions, they'll land the rib boat and set up the 6 stations. Bad conditions, land a 2-station portable rib, more when possible. In very bad conditions, they'll hold off. The local operators are going to be N1DG, HA7RY, KN4EEI, and AA7JV. AA7JV is going to be our speaker tonight. And remotely, they're going to have 20 to 25 operators operating from home via internet and Starlink. They'll be on the air for 12 days, and as I said, 160 through 6, including the work bands and 30 meters. I'm sorry, also 60 meters. And they'll be working CW sideband and FT8. Tips for working N5 Juliet, which will be their call station, call number. It's on 160, send your call sign twice. As we said, it's summertime on 160. I'm not optimistic that the propagation will be very good. And then here's what I was talking about. Pay attention to the CW operators timing. Satellite latency results in slower response. So if you go right on it, they may miss your call. So wait a second or two. The RIB was developed with the financial support from the North California DX Foundation, and they thank them for their foresight in this breakthrough with the United States FWS. Major donations to the Jarvis DXpedition. Technology was DAQ software and networking. Remote technology was and networking was W1VE. Island to boat link was W6IZT. And built the RIB, the network, the hardware, power, and everything else was KN4EEI. Any questions I'll try to answer, but as I said, I didn't really put this together, and I just had the PowerPoint to present in it. George couldn't make it, but hopefully we'll be able to get him back after this works and get him to talk and tell us the pluses and minuses about it. We'll try and get the screen back and get everyone else back on here.
There we go.
Good. Does anyone have any questions?
Is there any chance we can be able to download this somehow?
Yeah, there is a chance. It's a pretty big file.
It's a PowerPoint if you've got
We'll have the video. There'll be a YouTube channel. I'll be posting that. So, but if you want an actual PowerPoint, get a hold of me, Bob. Well, it'll be when I post the video, it'll be that email address you can get back to me. What PowerPoint, we'll put on some form where we can send the whole thing. Maybe we can put it on our website.
Yeah, I'll see if we can put it on our website. I'll talk to Jim Shrine, who's our webmaster, and see if we can put this PowerPoint up. I'll also check with George and make sure it's okay with him. I'm sure it is. He presented this at pretty much this at Visalia this year, and the slides, he had no problem sending them to me. So I'll double check and make sure he doesn't mind us putting it on our website.
Probably the Expedition website will have this for a download later. It's a really good one. I'd like to have it. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Bud, do you have any thoughts, being that you were in one of these RIB attempts in the past?
No, not really beyond what was in the presentation. The radio in the box concept worked really, really well on Baker, just the link between the boats, and I guess they solved that with better antennas.
Yes, that's what I understand.
So yeah, no, and George is a genius. That, by the way, that's his personal boat. And so you can imagine the costs involved, and never mind with the development of the RIP. There have been a lot of problems, like you mentioned, with the flex radios, but all the DXpeditions they've had with the RIBs, and they seem to have worked those out. So it'll be exciting. I did notice I worked most of the DXpeditions, and you're exactly right about the CW latency. The guys that were calling instantly after the DXpedition station stopped sending were really struggling to get through. So you have to wait that second or whatever it is to be more likely to get through.
And I think it's even going to be more of an issue if the operator is one of the remote operators that's working through Starlink, which will add that much more latency to the thing. I think it's absolute genius to use Starlink, and the operators can operate from the comfort of their own home and be working a DXpedition station, operating the DXpedition station. I think that's great.
I don't know, if you're not dealing with tons of bird crap and mosquitoes and 120 degrees and 120% humidity, it just doesn't seem right.
But as we all get older, we like our creature comforts. Any other questions or comments? Well, thanks very much. I'm sorry George wasn't able to make it here. We'll work on getting him back sometime. Everyone have a safe evening, and thanks for coming to the May San Diego DX Club meeting, and we'll see you again next month.
Thank you, sir. Steve, great to see you. Hope to see you this weekend.
Thanks, mate.
Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys. It was fun.